Hello and welcome back, everybody, to Conference 1 Esports. We got more Valorant action coming at you from the collegiate stage tonight. It's going to be Cal Poly Pomona B versus Colorado University Black. And I am super excited to be here. My name is Paul. Alongside me today is Dor. Dor, are we heading to the West region? It is always spice.
It's always a good time. And honestly, I mean, we talk a lot about the hierarchy. There have been some big tournaments going on for these teams, opportunities for them to win some cash, some scholarship money, but right now, I have no clue who's winning this match. We've watched these teams play a number of times in the past. We've watched them play in a number of different tournaments. But both of these teams have really big upset potential and also the potential to kind of drop the ball on everything. So it's always a surprise with these two, especially Cal Poly Pomona B, who we've seen reach highs that are just unimaginable, being the best of the best that we have to offer here at CF1, and then going to lose at teams from the bottom of their table. So who knows what version of these teams we're getting tonight.
Well, yeah, and you know, we take a look at this here for our split 2 and how things have shook out thus far. And I think moving forward, Dor, at the end of split 2, we might come back and look at this as a decider match, so to speak, of who may or may not actually make it past split 2 into the West playoffs. Because Colorado Boulder, they're already off to a rough start, right? 0-2 thus far. They've had some pretty tough competition in the first couple of weeks, playing both UC Irvine and the Cal Golden Bears, who are currently undefeated, so we don't, fault them too heavily for that. But yeah, even then, you got to be picking up some kind of wins. In this second round robin, there's only 5 rounds. So Colorado Boulder, they basically have to win out from here to get themselves a positive record.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be real, right? Colorado Boulder, yes, they're down 0-2. But also look at the group that they're in, Poland. I feel like I can't imagine many teams that actually pick up wins here. So even WGA, right? WGA is another fantastic team, but 0-2. This is like, Boulder is a pretty scary team to any other team that isn't one of the 4 that are ahead of them. Fortunately, they are playing Cal Poly Pomona B, and I think they stand a real shot at taking away this one. So we're already starting off. Let's talk a little bit about what we got map pick ban-wise. Means we're getting no Icebox. Cal Poly Pomona wanted nothing to do with Haven, so there will be split if it does go down to a third map. Starting off, though, we play at Ascent, home of the little skirmishes, those 2v2s. We talk about them every single time. We're looking for those individual and duo frag wins to pull yourself ahead here.
And setting the stakes for Cal Poly Pomona, right? We have to really look at this as a match where it being one of the big California teams, you got to be picking this one up. The last 2 have been so close. They narrowly won over WGA and just barely lost to the Cal Golden Bears themselves. So as we head on to map 1 of Ascent, you're looking to start off strong.
Yeah, and already some interesting compositional picks. Party Kid going out. I believe that's a signature raise for them, so it's not too much of a surprise. We got teased by Boulder with a little bit of Viper, but it won't be coming out. I do enjoy the Killjoy pick here a lot, to be fair. Other than that, the big difference will also be Reyna versus Breach. This is a fairly powerful map for Breach. There aren't many maps that are particularly bad for him, but when you're running with the Jet, it does change how you have to entry frag at least a little bit. You can rely less as a team on that Lear. Instead, now you have the Flashpoint, which your Jet is kind of the only one who's capable of taking advantage of, but on the other side, right, you're running a Raze, so moving in off that Lear is also a little bit difficult for her without the blast packs.
And I think if Colorado Boulder want to come out with a win, they're really going to have to use that Breach to its full effectiveness to enable their players. Spazzy has been one of the standout players on this squad. Going up against players like Party Kid, this catch of Spicy, if we're just talking about duelist head-to-heads in general, I mean, you're looking at 1 duelist versus 2, first off. So more aggression you would assume from Cal Poly. But you need that support. You need that strong spear to take it to a team like CPP already out into mid. Go Colorado Boulder as we head on to the first map. This is Boulder's map pick. They're hoping to start off strong here, Door. Already very far up towards A. There is some Killjoy utility that will catch them out here. They're now trying to flush out some of this.
I mean, Cal Poly Pomona started off this round with an intense B lean. They use it to push up Garage. They find out nobody's there, and that means they can send all of that infantry back over to A fairly confidently. Now, they're not going to see anything here either. They're very likely to rotate one of these players back. You can see the Rays holding far back in Gardens of Silva. In fact, will be the one to back away, send a little bit of help. They know this could be anywhere right now, and I love that they're willing to play very fluid to figure that out. With the smoke coming out as well, though, this Rain has got a lot of work to do. Catch up Spicy. Holds the trigger, gets one. Looking to be good for two, but no, this misses just off. The flash is big, though. It's a great entry frag for CPP.
Great dismiss there, too, from Spicy. Just using it to tank some bullets, cause a distraction of Rainbow. Left alone, a knife kill. Aloha, getting on the board and finishing off that first round.
All right, CPP, get a little spicy with it. It was a really interesting round for them, right? The big leans towards one side or the other or one thing. The knife kill, though. Oh, we had to watch it from Rainbow's perspective. Poor guy.
All right.
Buys, though. Nothing too crazy for the either side. No force up from CU Boulder. I don't think they're at a point where they need to. Yeah, the knife looked bad, but by all means, it was certainly more than reasonable for them to take that with the reload and all. Now it's about just getting your economy in a decent place. Let's see. Defender's not going for anything too crazy. A much more standard setup to what we saw prior. Now the Omen playing back through mid, trying to just figure out what's going on. Lots of pressure on A for the attacking side. With the Killjoy utility where it is, it's going to be pretty hard to not find a successful retake here.
Oh, but that Nanostorm is actually pretty late here. You do have to keep in mind that CPP have an overwhelming gun advantage. So even with the Nanostorm not getting what it was meant to, it's hard for CU Boulder to get much of anything. Yeah, they're not even going to put one on the board as CPP finish that up. Lickety split. They're going to have a beautiful bonus round coming out of this. But, you know, you do have to wonder how much the hand that shows for Cal Poly. You get that cheeky Nanoswarm by the door trying to deny that. Is that something that Cal Poly are going to want to try and use? Is that something Colorado Boulder can make an adjustment on now that we get to the real rounds, the gun rounds that matter? Or was that just for the early game?
I mean, honestly, if there's a round that I want to see a swap up, it's here anyways, and there's still plenty of death left in the Cal Poly Pomona playbook for them to change things, though they really aren't showing us much of that. Silva playing back in mid. This is really interesting. They like to rotate these players around a lot. We've had this Reyna at B every round, but now it's the Omen and the Silva who are floating around over there. They're giving us a lot of different looks. Now look, Killjoy pushing up towards A, getting some really valuable information. Catch up Spicy finds one already onto Pluto. Mid pressure now belongs to the defenders. Mind you, see a Boulder now. You take a look at the minimap. The two players towards B and the two players towards A are completely bisected currently.
At least Jazz is going to be able to pick up Party Kid, and with one heading out, Colorado Boulder can rest easy temporarily. Look over at A, though. Here comes Disco in such a powerful position. You've got to check this if you're Boulder. You've had no one over here for a while. Thinks about it. Nailed it. Nice. Good work there from Rainbow. That's the Killjoy down, too, right? You had that ever so important Sentinel lurk on out, and now there's not the same kind of utility to make this hold happen. Catch up Spicy going to need a beautiful catch to really take it to CU Boulder. Gets one. Ain't half bad to be sure. Aloha coming for the support. We've got a late lurk coming around from the defender spawn, but it might not be here in time. Now it's just 1v3. And the spike's down, Door. It hasn't been planted.
Yeah, it's late, less in the sense of catching your opponents off guard, more so in the sense of, you know, my homework's late. I lose credit. And Blackman may get one here, but the two more are a pretty tall task. I believe the Silva actually has probably the drone coming up here, or rather the Sonic in just a moment. And now, yeah, swarm grenades are out. It's pretty obvious where this player is. They can play a double angle here on the drop. It's impossible to peek both these at the same time. You're going to take it every single day of the week. Great job, CPP. Honestly, that's a perfect reaction to the Killjoy.
Yeah, and that's their bonus round taken beautifully. Now there's not really going to be much money here for Boulder. Expect that to go back to an eco. And I really loved that mid-aggression from Cal Poly, right? You know that your guns aren't necessarily worth this push up. You know you're going to have money even if this round flub. Play the odds, and hey, it works out swimmingly.
Oh, let's see what CU Boulder can get them. Maybe take some of the weapons out of the hand. The economy is not impossible to defeat at this point in time, but give it one more gun round, and then we'll be talking about something a lot more threatening. Let's see what CU have to offer us. Pretty standard. Making sure there's no overextension. CPP have been pushing up for information very often here, and they keep getting away with it, Paul.
Yeah, Ketchup Spicy, just really good on the micro there. You could see, didn't really want to swing because he wasn't sure. Knew that there would be at least 2 players there, but once he heard the reload, knew that they were falling back. There wasn't going to be anyone covering that angle. That's an easy pickup for him there.
Wow.
Not much that Rainbow can do, and these first 4 rounds have been indomitable. Yeah, exactly.
I don't feel like it's something that CU Boulder can't actually handle. You know, we've seen these players do it before. We know they can hold their ground, but I think they're getting a little bit flustered by the amount of weapons that are being thrown at them. Even on a round where you're not expected to win on the ecos, I want to see them go for a few more 2v1s. Use that numbers advantage, cover their backs a little bit better, right? Aloha could have, or not Aloha, pardon me, Jazz could have been traded out there over towards B. The reaction time was a little bit off. They're not expecting people to be around these corners, right? It's one thing to peek it, it's another thing to expect somebody to be there. And I think that's where CPP are really getting away with the lead.
Colorado Boulder's spin it up style hasn't been working now for a full send toward B. Already crossing through, Spazzy trades himself out for 1, but that's a Killjoy down. That's a pretty good trade. Now you can move on to the site. A lot to deal with for Colorado Boulder. Keep in mind, 3 ults already available. 1 being popped. The Empress coming on out. Spicy has an idea that someone might be hanging around the main, but still gonna go for the site regardless. Dismiss, gets him away. Lear to come on back, and that's an easy second frag, but no, Rain actually doubts himself, and now from the cross, that's the main been waiting on. Jazzy never got flushed out. And I mean, Colorado Boulder undoubtedly now gonna put their first round on the board.
Yeah, wonderful positioning from Jazz as well. Making sure you stay behind. Over aggression by the Reyna, not waiting for her teammates. Everything there went to plan for CU Boulder. And honestly, I don't mind these executes either. Kind of those holes that we were talking about are hard to take advantage of when it's them pushing into you as opposed to the other way around. The defaults, you know, they've had holes, they've had leaks, but that was a solid execute. Something to build on top of, and like we said, it's not out of their hands yet. The economy starts building its way back after this. Oh, not after that, though. That's unfortunate. Rainbow drops probably, what, around 4K worth of equipment?
Yeah, you're still going to be able to buy. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. You would have rather that not happen, but you haven't. It's okay.
The defenders, they should have cash for this. Barty Kid keeping the operator as well is pretty nice. Where do they send it? Big shifts along the way. Killjoy over to B. So now is when they want to do it. After they lose a round. Cal Poly Pomona decide now it's time to adapt. This is not approach I love a lot, you know? Odin, yeah, it's just Odin spam. Nothing too crazy. Good on that. Great fault. Let's see if they can get off the back of it. Here comes the disco. Holding their ground. Defender's still good for 1. And as long as this Killjoy's alive, it stops the push. Jazz takes him out, but at what cost?
Cost of almost everybody. Now we're down to a 2v2, and Party Kid's still hanging on to the showstopper. Aldrone to clear out. Tagged 1 onto site. Jazz, you are so done for here, buddy. There's the long angle. TP not getting you out of that one, buddy. And, I mean, good luck now, Rainbow. Able to hit with the fault line, but not much you can do there. It was such a good entry from Colorado Boulder, but just tiny things falling apart at the seams.
I mean, I don't know about tiny things. Not getting the frag onto the Killjoy was really, really big there. But that's CPP shifting it up, right? Nobody expected a Killjoy to be there because the Killjoy's been on A every single round. As much as I am a proprietor for being, you know, proactive in your change and always being a step ahead of the opposing team, if you lose a round, yeah, it probably is time for some change. And it absolutely worked for Cal Poly Pomona. I'm curious to see, though, whether or not they actually keep it. The Killjoy does seem to be staying over towards B, but the Omen now shifting over to A. So while the changes that we're seeing aren't drastic, right? It's not things like shifting where your Sentinel is playing, similar to what we would see in like a big shift in a lot of other games. It's more about little changes across the rounds for Cal Poly Pomona. Put our Omen over at A, put our Raze over at B, and then all of a sudden you're getting peeked by a Reyna in mid. It's just little adjustments, little pokes and prods towards the defenses of CU Boulder and how well they're actually able to hold that space on the map. And more often than not, those pokes and prods are creating some pretty serious wounds.
And you can see where Colorado Boulder are clearly a well-developed team. I mean, that execute, other than just some nasty whiff shots and dying to Killjoy utility, because, you know, you're full sending into a Killjoy, that just happens. I really liked the setup Paranoia to clear the turret, the smoke to keep the turret from slowing you down, right? It was a well executed for the most part, but then, you know, you have one series of whiff shots with the Blade Storm and things fall apart one by one by one. That frazzles the whole team. You don't have position on site. You're still running into an Odin. The Rolling Thunder concuss is wearing off. And it just becomes more and more difficult from there. Now we're more or less out of money for Colorado as well as we are most of the way through this tac pause. Actually, we're just done with this tac pause. We are going back into the game now. Boulder switching it up yet again. 2 over toward A. Just feeling out the map right now, seeing what they can get. Ooh! Not that. You don't want to get that position. I'll tell you that much for free.
That's an aggressive peek by Spicy. Oh, no, but some whiff shots leave it wide open. Oh, Party Kid, great follow-up as well. And again, the pokes and prods turn into pain for CU Boulder.
And look at the spike. It's all the way back over there. I mean, CPP don't know that yet. They haven't pushed up far enough to see the spike, but in T-minus about 3 seconds, this Ketchup Spicy is going to figure that out with Jazz going down. Oh, actually, Spicy backs that off. So it's still a 2v5 here. You don't really have the firepower if you're Colorado Boulder. Honestly, I wouldn't hate it if you just try and recover the gun you can and maybe look for a save, honestly.
That'd be nice, but yeah, I do like the decision here from CPP. Yes, they pull back from the spike, but it also means they get to group up as 5. And when you're 5 versus 2, the biggest thing you have going for you pretty obviously is going to be your numbers advantage 9 times out of 10. I haven't figured out where these players are, though. I'm pretty sure they assume that they're back in spawn trying to save, and they're just like, yeah, you can save your guns, whatever.
30 seconds.
I'm not sure they're expecting them to be all the way up by A lobby. This is very likely to...
Like there was actually some mid-control given up, so CPP are mostly flushing out their spawn right now. I mean, now you're just running out into the site. Spazzy figures out, oh, well, they haven't abandoned that. Gonna be able to pick up one. I mean, at this point, Spazzy... economic frags don't do anything when CPP got the money they're living off right now.
Yeah, when you got that much cash, you got screw you money, as they like to say, and they've got plenty of it, so they can say screw it, I'll die in this round, and it's gonna be no problem for them. Boulder, though, they've got cash this round, and they've also got a nice set of ultimates. The lockdown will be really great for getting in on, and if they can spot out the site, which the Killjoy on the defensive side is not holding, I think their odds of winning this round increase significantly, because a mirrored lockdown is always going to be better for the team that's trying to hold the ground rather than the team that's trying to attack into it. To CU Boulder have spotted out the wrong side, unfortunately, so far. It looks like they want to play towards A, but there's going to be a turret, and there's going to be nanos, there's going to be everything in your way. Nice. And already 2 frags over on the A side, though. There could be a quick swap over here.
That's a great little bait there from Jazz and Blackman. They know that Ketchup Spicy and Party Kid like to push a lot. You could see on the other side as well that Boulder were using things like the fault line and the owl drone to prepare for that. So Boulder counter-stratting a little bit there on the fly. That tac pause seems to have helped out quite a bit. You've still got things to contend with, though. Like you said, lockdown is always a tool to be feared, and Hunter's Fury can get rid of the lockdown that Boulder want to use. So you got to be a little bit careful about how you get onto this site. They're running out now. Dash carries Spazzy forward, takes a chunk of damage because of that recon dart, but able to get in and clear everything out. This spike should be able to be planted, although as I say that, lockdown is committed. You're not in the ideal position to use your own Hunter's Fury here to get rid of it if you're Colorado Boulder. You just got to try and head for the hills now. And meanwhile, enemy Hunter's Fury is picking you off at range. One player detained. It's all on Spazzy to charge on forward, and he gets
not going to stop anything.
Down. That's not going to stop it. Shock Dart will for just now. Hunter's Fury being committed to. Oh, that looked ever so dicey for Colorado Boulder, but they will hang on by the skin of their teeth for now.
He's only got to get through half this. He's sticking it. He's sticking it.
Gotta swing it.
Okay, Rainbow. Way to keep it cool. And the attacking lockdown was better. I mean, the defensive one was good. It popped them out of position, but the smoke was late. I mean, Aloha missed it wide, and it led honestly a perfect window. It was almost a one-way, right? Where the attackers could shoot through towards the spike, but nobody who wasn't on the spike could see through the smoke. Is a bit of an issue, but, you know, small issues will give you rounds when you're talking about teams as good as CPP and CU Boulder. And CPP rightfully want to change things up a little bit here. Raze and Reyna both over on the B side. They'll be met with a little bit of aggression this time. Hopefully not too early frags for either side. We want some clean play.
It seems like this Ketchup Spicy and Party Kid have learned their lesson. They're not pushing B main again. Not right now, at least. Quite a bit of position here for Colorado Boulder. Again, though, it's that long split across the map without much mid control. And without picks to support it, this becomes a lot more difficult, right? Because If you want to try and readjust your position, you either have to take the long way through your own spawn as an attacking team, or you're going to try and tenuously clear out mid. There's a turret there, spotting Jazz and everything. Disco ready to swing that. Making him play with fire right now. Does run out of bullets. They're going to have to come on back, and a smoke will at least let you creep up towards Catwalk. Oh boy, be careful here, Pluto. You got Spike and everything, buddy. Can't afford to be dying. Has to hide in the smoke so he doesn't get spammed. Nanoswarm's going to push him forward, though. Gotta win that gunfight. No, the Spike's dropped.
That's a disaster. I mean, they should have known this. Spicy gets the burst before, but 4v3 with Spike down. I mean, this is just a defender's heaven. There's so little ways to run back and attack this. You've got low HP on the Killjoy at what is a close range engagement on the other side. Spazzy spamming. Can't get much of anything. No purchase found with the bullets. With Blackman down 1v3. The shots have got to be found. He's good for 3, but not any more than that. It would have taken the whole damn ace to win that round. And that puts CPP into a profitable half.
And these 3-2 periphery defaults have just looked very indecisive from Boulder. You know, it's not like they're pushing for that A main control that they really could pretty easily get with Pluto and Rainbow both there. They're just sort of hanging around to see if anybody's going to push them. Unless Ketchup Spicy and Party Kid go back to doing those aggressive pushes that cost them that other round, it's not going to come up with much of anything, you have to assume. I'm liking this, though.
Value to be had here is by, you know, catching people off guard with things you haven't done before. That's what CPP has really been banking on for this entire defensive half. But so far, it's just been aggressive peaks. Party Kid out mid, though. We haven't seen that in a hot minute. Now it comes a cat push, though the bot spots somebody. Giving CPP a bit of an inkling. Is he going to pop up here?
I like this. Well, you can just wait for the smoke to expire there, and then try to catch somebody in late. Spazzy once again waving the Blaze Storm. Maybe didn't hit Kovacs today, man. didn't get his warm up all the way in. This Ketchup Spicy only gonna trade for 1 though. Suddenly things not looking terrible for Boulder. If this was an earlier eco, I'd be feeling pretty decent about their chances, considering they just got a second pick. But they don't have much health. They don't have real guns. At least Spazzy picks up 1, but not doing much with it, and nothing Rainbow can do there either. So 8-2 now in favor of Cal Poly.
Yeah, it was a good shout by Boulder, but I mean, for all intents and purposes, an eco round, you just don't have weaponry going for you. Now they do. See if they can turn this one into an 8-4. I'm starting to believe a lot more in these executes. Mind you, both of their winning attacking rounds did come off the back of strong executes, and they showed that they could do it on both sites. They're coming up, you know, relatively soon on Blackman's ultimate, so the lockdown will be coming available in probably a round or two, so I'll have another opportunity at that, at least before the half ends, for sure. If they manage to put a frag onto the Killjoy, might be able to find even more value than that. But the mid push is already pretty heavy. Look at the Reyna. Look at the Party Kid. They've got a lot of space. They're doing work with it.
Boombot, that was a lot of damage that just tagged there onto Pluto. Even though Party Kid trades that out, I mean, that's a kill waiting to happen right there, honestly. That was isolated too. Gonna have to go the long way all the way around, and meanwhile, you've got one waiting with the Odin. Odd, able to find one easy, and that's the Spike down. You can repeat this once the market push comes. Able to get yet another. Spike will be recovered and can head onto the site now, but Spazzy and Rainbow, they're not able to really support each other right now. There's a Rolling Thunder just in desperation to keep Spazzy alive. You know where Rainbow is now, though. Flashes have to be perfectly timed, and Ketchup just swings him, spots him. Spazzy is good for that first. The next 2 are going to be a bit harder, though.
I did like the Rolling Thunder. I mean, I think it's a great idea. You get the spike down. You're already is, what, 2v3, 2v4 is absolutely like a winnable round if they are able to catch somebody out with that. And you're reaching the point of the half where you can't be afraid to use your ultimates. You've got 1 round left. You're coming up on a lockdown in a couple moments. If they, I think, 1 ult orb away. Yep, just 1 for Blackman. So they've got a win condition. They got to try and use it, but you're playing against Hunter's Fury, Showstopper, Empress, and From the Shadows. I mean, realistically, any of those can actually shut an ultimate down.
We're on to the last round of the half. Keep in mind, Ascent is a defender-sided map, but it's not 10-2 defender-sided mathematically.
Yeah, this is stretching the limits of defender side.
Oh, we're way past the limit, Store. We are. The limit does not exist at this point. Colorado Boulder just hoping the limit is 9 here, but like you said, CPP are poised excellently. This is the first like true mid take we've really seen for Colorado. Oh, and already the read is so good. They don't know one's close, but he dashes out straight into the rocket. Oh, a little bit of nerves there. Unlucky Spazzy. It made sense of the day. But now you're just blown away along with the rest of Boulder. Not much health here for a couple of the CPP players. First catch is pretty easy. Second one, not bad, but no dice on number 3. Odd will lock it down.
Yeah, and they lock it down for 10, too. What a half for Cal Poly Pomona. Again, it's a team that not always is the most consistent that we get here at CF1, but certainly can put up some really, really good matches when they want to. And this is another one of those showings of, like, you know, a solid CPP roster coming in and showing us some really solid rounds. We sub sides up, only 3 rounds for them to win map number 1, then send us on over to Bind, which honestly I think goes even better for them, considering they've got Party Kid, a really notable Raze player. That's a fantastic map for them.
And I've really liked the way Cal Poly have used this duelist duo, right? Party Kid and this catch up Spicy. They're comboing together, they're taking space very effectively, and when they take that space, it's a threat. Like, they can take it with the Reyna and then threaten to hold it with the Raze, right? Because you don't really want to walk into the Raze if you can help it. It's just a very potent defensive duo. Now we move to the offense. We'll see if it has the same sort of strength. Already a nice lurk up catwalk here. Party Kid testing around. Good for the first. Just off a Sheriff, too. Not that no other buys necessary. Spazzy is going to get spotted on that close angle. When he goes for the reload, he gets caught. Oh, 3 down in an instant, as this pistol ain't going anywhere. And
make it 4.
Too. Heard the first.
Wow,
there's the
good
last.
shot.
Flawless for Cal Poly.
Shout out Riyadh. Going 4 for 4 on the headshots with the classic. Who needs right clicks? Yeah, oh, let's get a replay. This is a clean. Look at that. Boom. 1, 2. Every bullet going straight through the dome. I like to see it. Also, shout out Odd. 3 deaths in the whole half. That's what you want from your Silva, right? Silva's one of those characters that you really want to see later in the round between all of the information that you can get in a post-plant situation. You need that player to stay alive, and the fact that Odd is staying alive and finding frags is really, really good for this team.
I'm impressed with Party Kid, too. Only 4 deaths, considering that he's been up at the front alongside Catch Up Spicy. Not bad either. Gonna get yet another kill without dying, seemingly, as Blackman can't pin him down. Cal Poly, their foot's just on the gas right now. A little bit of a speed bump there. But ultimately still looking very good. It has been a force up by CU Boulder. They've got some weapons to try and make this happen. Great swing from Aloha. He catches them at just the wrong time. Fazzy trading it back, picking up an Ares, and good for another, but now no health remaining for Jazz. He'll get sent packing, and we're already on map point.
It's been a quick one so far, but I believe that CU Boulder can actually put some points up on the board. They invested pretty heavily into that last round, though, Paul. It's going to take a big effort from at least one of these players if they want to go off. And you know what? I'm looking at Spazzy and Jazz, who've been doing a pretty good job at their respective jobs on the attacking side. But on the defense, they're very split apart. The Omen's been trying to play in mid. The Marshall didn't really find all that much value. They're buying up what they can. Let's see if they can hit the shots. I think that's all it really comes down to. Look at Spazzy. Going for something big here.
I mean, you got to get something big, though, and he's just going to get immediately cleared by that owl drone.
There you go!
Okay, what we were looking for. As he took a minute and warmed up his hands, the Blade Storm gets whiffed into a cloud, but you still got things to work with. Seemingly chucked his gun to his buddy, so I guess he doesn't have that much to work with here, but either way, a great start here for Colorado Boulder, CPP. I mean, you got to ask yourself, is it worth even going for this round? Worth giving guns over, potentially? I mean, I guess you have, 10 rounds to recover if something goes wrong, so why not go for it?
Yeah, knowing CPP, I'm pretty sure they're going to try and find a way to win this round. They're waiting for an overextension, though, which is really smart, right? Recognizing your win condition. A lot of time attacking teams, you want to find the difference, but sometimes you wait for the opposing side. CU Boulder had a pretty high chance of trying to go for more than they deserved there. Instead, wait their turn. Odd pushing through. Nearly gets a shot on Odd, drop down to 93 HP. The push is real, though, and the spike is soon to go down. Aloha with a beautiful flank, though. Gets two.
Oh!
Goes to the third. The spray tracer is just gorgeous ball. One defender left. The round's been flipped on its head, but the map has not. It's absolutely CPP. Large and in charge. They should be able to finish this one out. And the knife from behind. It ends as it started. Paul with the stab in the back. Cal Poly Pomona up a 1-0.
Oh boy. The circle of stupidity is complete. we get a knife kill at the end and the beginning. Wow, what a dominant map there for Cal Poly. I loved how they had Aloha on that lurk, right? Hey, I'm gonna go. They have mid control. If not, we're just gonna come back to A. I'll be on the flank. You guys close the door, and easy does it. That was as dominant of a round, as dominant of a map as you can hope for, especially considering that was Colorado's map pick. So Cal Poly got to be feeling pretty good about how this is going thus far.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier. I mean, you got to raise like Party Kid. You want to play Bind. You want to play Split. Like, those are two really, really good map picks specifically for you. I'd like to highlight some discrepancy here on the board. Jazz beating out Disco, I feel like, is a statement to be made for the 1920s. At the very least, they're taking them where they can get them. Either way, ladies and gentlemen, we've got more Valorant coming up in just a bit. Map number 2 will be beginning in a couple of minutes, so stay tuned. Keep your eyes glued to your screens and your butts firmly planted in your seat, because Paul and I will be right back.
Welcome back, everybody. If you're just joining us here on a fabulous Wednesday night, good news. You haven't missed much. First map, pretty quick between Cal Poly Pomona and Colorado Boulder. 13-2. Boulder's map pick, not the start they were hoping to get off to, as we head on to Bind now for map number 2.
No, I mean, Bind's scary for a lot of reasons. It feels like the composition that we saw at a CPP was really tailored to that specifically, right? You've got a really comfortable Raze player. You've got a perfect Reyna. You've got a team that's really fluid. So you're talking about the rotation between B and A and how a lot of teams like having more often than not an Omen set up in the far back to kind of play that quick rotate to either side. We saw CPP playing that fluid style. Like you can really understand why this is their map pick. They're very suited to it.
Yeah. And Colorado Boulder, it didn't seem like was the Colorado Boulder we're necessarily used to, right? Decent life. There were highlight micro plays, and then moments where there were excellent macro plays, but they couldn't quite get those synchronized properly, ever. Really only taken 2 rounds on their own map pick, both of which are on that attacking side. So I'm hoping whatever kind of rust is laying on Boulder right now, whatever's weighing them down, just shake it off. GG, go next. You stop maps this as you go, and Boulder can bring a fight.
Yeah, I think Boulder's finding one of the hard parts against playing against teams that are willing to challenge you, right? When you scrim, especially when you scrim teams only of kind of at or below your own skill level, you're never going to be challenged, right? You're going to throw a smoke out, and they're probably going to respect it because they respect you as a team. But Cal Poly Pomona, as we know, have little respect for literally anybody here. And they are willing to do some pretty crazy stuff to literally any team in this bracket, regardless of whether or not they're better or worse than them. And so they got challenged out of every smoke, on every corner, on every engage. There was somebody waiting on site. They were waiting for cheese. They were willing to peek even into one-way smokes, just going for it. And you can't get complacent. You can't throw out a one-way smoke and say, they're not going to push that because it's a one-way smoke. It'd be stupid to push that. Who do that? But Cal Poly Pomona, in a way, are so good that they do the bad things because they know when they're going to work. So you've got to make sure you're playing clean Valorant. That's how you win this game. That's how you come back against a team that's challenging you on all these angles. You have to kind of put them back in their place. Say, hey, we're throwing out these smokes because you're not allowed to walk through them. You've got to kind of set the rules and enforce them before you can break them, which leads us into our second map of Bind.
And Bind, despite the fact that it's Cal Poly's pick, I actually think this is still going to be a pretty good map for Boulder, at least on paper, right? They make a lot of different picks here. Rainbow is, I think, much more comfortable on the Raze than they were. And Spazzy moves way over the Phoenix as well, off of that Jet, right? And these are the 2 best picks for these 2 players, in my opinion, right? So I'm excited to see how agency and playmaking enables these 2, but you know what else I'm excited? Look over on the right. It's Viper.
What on earth? And it's Party Kid playing Viper. That's the weird part to me. I mean, I'm all for it. Hey, play whatever roles you want. Odd's back on the Sova. Aloha's back on the Omen, and you know how I feel about this, Paul. Running the Viper without the Omen is just, it's not a good look. I love that they're willing to, keep that core pit of the composition. I'm curious to see whether or not we get another Flash versus another Sentinel. That's kind of the big disparity that people are having with the Viper specifically today. Is do you want to kind of help your Raze, your Jet, get into the battle more, or do you want to invest more in the defensive side? But usually investing in another Sentinel results in very lopsided games where teams must capitalize on the defensive half if they ever want a shot of winning. Because right now, take a look at this team. Yes, they've got pretty nice execute options, but outside that, there are 0 waves in. There is not a flash in sight for them to actually find a proper engage. So while they're starting on the attacking side, you can kind of temper your expectations for CPP for the first half of this game.
You know what, Dorian? I think I'm gonna have to disagree with you just a little bit. It makes sense, right? You're not saying anything wrong. Don't get me wrong. But I'm gonna put on my Viper aficionado hat for a second here. As one of the few insane people who has been praising Viper since she was practically unusable in outside of niche strategies, right? I actually think on a map like Bind, Viper's gonna work better on the attack. There are very few good setups to rely on the defensive side here on Bind, so a team that can adapt around those, you're not really given many options with the Viper. Whereas on the attack, if you're coming in one way, the wall goes up, you just split the defense in two. There's not much they can really do about it, right? So you don't get those flashes, sure, but you can isolate fights in a similar manner, not with the same kind of odds.
Oh, let's see if they can execute on that as they look to take over B. 3 members coming out long, a lot of pressure. Love this positioning from the Cypher. He's waiting for somebody to get on the trap wire so that way he can start pushing through here. Haven't found the trap wire quite yet. Dangerous spot. It's been found now, but not too dangerous of a position. Pluto holding the ground along with the Cypher. No deaths here for CF Boulder, playing extremely passive, but then it's just CPP, the ones who are more than happy to take that space.
Love it. Aloha just challenging elbow. Knew that's where the players would be hiding if they weren't on the site there. Colorado Boulder gotten past the Viper wall on the back, though, and already getting one. Fazzy has the curveballs available, but he's going into a 1v4. Not much health for CPP, admittedly, but not much either for Spazzy, and that is a very spammable wall. He'll get one with the molly on the way out. Cal Poly still off to a strong start.
Yeah, post-mortem frags only get you so far. It's a little bit extra cash in the pocket, but shouldn't mean too much for CU Boulder, and I really appreciate CPP being willing to move past these, right? It's one of those things, you know, I'm a huge nerd about people running like Brimstone Phoenix on this map, and one of the reasons why I think it's particularly potent and it's really interesting is not because of the execute capability, but the ability to push beyond the execute and get more value out of it and try and punish your opponent for either trying to hold space or not giving you enough space. And that's exactly what we saw at a CPP. They got their execute off. They didn't spy anybody there. They figure there's a Cypher somewhere around here. We've seen his utility up until now. And so they go and hunt him down before the rotate comes in while they still have a player advantage. That's exactly what I want to see out of an aggressive, super hard execute like that.
And check out this wall on the A site. This is a bit of a gamble wall, admittedly, but if you get the first pick, this wall turns into such a strong scenario here. Because suddenly you've split the defense in two. They cannot support each other, and they have no idea where you're coming from. See? Ketchup Spicy isolating one. Able to get a headshot on Spazzy. Bring him down to 2 HP. And now, I mean, CPP are already on the site. Spazzy does have that runner back available. That'll reset him up to 100, assuming he lives long enough to actually get much use out of it. But looking less and less likely. He's the only one alive now, so I doubt he's going to be popping that runner back, and they'll just run him down in lamps. Get the second round for Cal Poly.
Yeah, I think it was a little shakier than they may have liked, but for the execute they were going for, again, you're not really afforded much more site control than you can get off the bat, and they fragged the player on the left, but they didn't frag on the right, so their bathroom's pressure was a little bit limited on the far right side. They weren't able to stop the defenders from coming back in, which is kind of why they lost that second player, and, you know, hats off to the Phoenix for being able to hold their ground in there, but 5-2 for the team with all of their frags, but if you want a team to succeed, well, you got to play like one. And I need those other numbers to go up, Paul.
Deploying drone.
Back to B we go for Cal Poly too. Now they've got a full bonus round. Don't get it twisted. That drone doesn't spot squat right there. Already the hard hit coming on in while bisecting the site too. You can actually take this through elbow if you really want to play aggressive, or just try and hold the site. Run it back, already coming from defender spawn. Things starting to get a little bit dicey. Where? Oh, they don't know.
Oh no,
they don't know that Party Kid's just hiding in here,
no.
dude. One easy pick. All right, just had a Spectre in hand, so it's not too out of control here. And here comes Disco with just 9 health. Will get shut down. CU Boulder taking their first gun round, and with 4 players left standing.
Yeah, it's pretty clean for their economy as well. CPP have thrown a lot in general the post plans, stopping the aggression from the attacking or from the retaking side more often than not. And I think it's a lot, or it's immensely due to the fact that their post plan positioning has been pretty off. They're not really in positions to trade one another, giving a lot of 1v1s away. And by 1v1s, I mean CU Boulder is running at them 3v1, which is not particularly ideal. You can see most of the players actually picking up frags, not Spazzy this time, which is good to see. Their rotations are working out for them. No real shift up for either side, though. We both got guns. I think that CPP know exactly how much this matters. They're lining up with a particularly unique attacking side right now. They want to make sure that Bathrooms doesn't get pushed in around like this, but keeping the spike on that player is kind of dangerous. So if these two manage to get their way out without getting spotted by Pluto here, this could be bad if that spike goes down.
So the orb should have been heard there, actually, by the one player. Yeah, Party Kid coming over, but that's your Viper gone, so you no longer get use of this wall here. Rainbow's just got to win one gunfight to make this happen. Forced forward by that paint shell. Catch up Spiky while he takes some damage. He's going to be able to get that Raze 1v1 locked down. One player taken out, but CPP are thinking, man, there might be a second one. See Jazz yet, and he usually plays over to this site. So we're going to keep our eyes on Showers while the spike gets planted.
I mean, they saw Jazz there earlier. Jazz was the one that that fragged their player back towards spawn. So, yeah, they know exactly where this guy is. It's just about finding the other two players. Blackman coming from spawn, the lockdown, completely obliterating any shot they had, getting onto the site cleanly. Now you got to drop from heaven, which is a barrel of monkeys in its own right. They know exactly where Jazz is. Like I said, it's not a hard angle for them to deal with. Even Blackman is pushing into a double angle that he can't really clear both of. They're going to have to go for a save here.
Yeah, just waiting to see if anyone's there to push them, but that won't be the case. CPP, it's too early. They're not going to gamble away their economy right now. I guess Aloha is, at the very... One player is not the worst thing to ever happen. That cost, ultimately, pizza, though. I mean, keep in mind they didn't come into this with the same kind of money stacked up that they did before. So, while they'll still be able to buy, don't worry about that. This is something where CU Boulder can actually punch back in this upcoming round.
Yeah, considering they won the bonus pretty readily, I think with 4 players alive, if memory serves correctly, they built up enough economy to get another buy up on the board. This is the one that really is going to make or break either team's economy. You see Aloha already dropped fairly low. Catch up spicy though, and here comes Disco. A bit of a float for both of them. Let's see what they can get done. We're back on another default. This time towards the B side. And it's a fake wall on A as well. The Vipers popped up on that side of the map. They've baited to rotate. The Raze is there. It's just 2 players on B, but they haven't figured out how to get past them.
Oh, Blackman, gotta be careful putting that trap wire up, buddy. They're pushing on through, but here come the reinforcements from behind on the flank. Blackman ain't gonna live to see his buddies, though. Pluto will, for at least now. Gets one, but Aloha hiding, using that Cypher cage to the fullest advantage. Gonna keep that second one from going over. Now we're left in a 3 versus 3. Poison Orb, keeping Colorado Boulder out. They don't really want to check into that 50 decay if they don't have to. I'll probably have plenty of time. They're gonna spot one. Here comes Disco, getting it on the swing. That's a 1-for-1 trade, and it actually leaves it open to head over to A. Or put an alarm bot there and come back to B. That also works.
Poison's off.
Low play for the attacking side. The defenders know they got to get this spike down. They're playing purely on audio cues. And I like the slow play as well, right? This Phoenix is going to be figuring what's going on pretty quickly here once it gets past the wall, but the Omen's also completely isolated out here in long. The plant's down, though. Phoenix turns around, and he should be walking right into the hands of his Vipers. Well, that's going to be a problem.
We got to be watching Party Kid right now. Party Kid is the fulcrum of this defense. If Party Kid wins this fight, then CPP should win the round. But if Spazzy is able to check him in any metric, then things get more difficult. No, now Jazz is left alone, has to try and flush 2 people out of Hookah. The spike plant is back behind the box, but it's still not easy for him to get there in the first place, and he won't be able to.
Oh, 2 members up. CPP cementing their lead, starting to put themselves actually a pretty tangible lead at this point. The pistols are up. What does CU Boulder want to do with this round? That's my big question. Last time we saw them go for kind of a semi-buy, just buying what they could within the means of their own economy. This time, it's very likely we see something similar. I think Blackman and Pluto are going to be doing something along the lines of that. And, you know, similar to last time, we're getting a team that wants to shift things up on the defensive side. 4 members stacked towards A. I love that they're going for this.
It goes here.
Yeah, I mean, you know, when you get blown away on map 1, things already starting to look bad on map 2. You got to try and make something happen. So at least contesting for some map control, but Blackman getting a ton of noise over toward B, calls him over. Hey guys, but here they come. Walls up and everything. Don't daddle. Or dawdle? Is it dawdle? Ah, whatever. Either way. Colorado Boulder, they're coming forward already. Viper's pick committed on the site here, but that doesn't mean it's easy going for CPP. Already they're getting blown away though. Colorado Boulder. Aloha ain't even concerned. He's just running straight at them. Fazzy does have this runner back, and it's honestly now or never. Gonna run over, find that first contact, but not much the rest of his friends can do. They've just got sheriffs in hand. Finally, Blackman will get one. The time already starting to run low, and you're running out of buddies to help you out. Fazzy gets another. Both players revealed on the site. Oh, and just barely. Blackman can find the perfect timing. Doesn't even need it. Spazzy's there. Party Kid doesn't have much health to work with. Colorado Boulder, they can swing this back right here, right now. Party Kid not able to make that timing happen, and the defuse will go off in plenty of time. Excellent work from Colorado.
Yeah, and the Thrifty as well. It's a perfect round for them. They got the change over towards A. The rotates looked beautiful coming out of the defensive side. I want to see more out of that from them, though, because one round doesn't do it. CPP are already, you know, most of the way through the rounds that we expect them to get on a defensive side, or on an attacking side, rather, defensive sided map. They're making the most of what they've got. Buying up still, though. The economy's not too bad for them. Not too shabby. They've got one round after this that should be gun round, and they still have an opportunity to at least have a shot at breaking CU Boulder. A couple of those players just low enough that they're not going to be able to buy following a loss here, and it looks like a pretty quick B. Again, throwing up this Viper wall at A. It's very likely to be fake, but no, this will get pushed. Spazzy's getting some really important information here about where they are and where they're not. That should be a tell to back out of B. We can play retake. We've already got a man advantage. Really good stuff from Boulder so far.
I'll probably have some tools to make this happen, but how much do you want to actually invest to make sure you just get a spike plant down? The answer is the showstopper. At the very least, it comes back around, actually finds Spazzy coming through the TP. Not out onto site. That is a beautiful play from this catch-up Spicy, and he's awarded a gun for that ingenuity. Now 4v4 for this retake door.
Yeah, but they've got 3 ultimates for the attacking side. This lockdown could actually be pretty deadly as well. The Soba's backed off far enough to use the Hunter's Fury should he want to. Blackman's got a nice flank, but here comes Discos. Good for 1. Numbers are 3v3. Holding their ground, though. CPP, excellent post-plant positioning. It was hurting them earlier, but my God, the crossfires, the angles. There was no getting on that site.
And it all just comes back to that showstopper, man, from this catch-up Spicy. Rather than going out onto the site, I mean, Spazzy's TP'd through mid like a few times already, so he's ready for that catch. This catch up Spicy, and then you keep hookah control as well, right? And you get to keep it with a gun, and on an eco round, that is so powerful. How are you ever going to get out the defender doorway if you're Colorado Boulder when you've just got Rainbow utility in the world checking you there? Beautiful stuff from CPP. Now they're up to 5-2.
Yeah, we'll keep trading blows back and forth economically, but the ultimates really don't lie here. I mean, you're talking about a lockdown and a Hunter's Fury versus a showstopper and a Hunter's Fury. Aloha, very aggressive teleport to the back line. I don't think they're 100% ready for this. Oh, God, I want to take a look at those defenders in the back. But there's the push. Spazzy down from behind. Gets 2. No way! For 3. What a spray transfer by Aloha. Spectacular display to crack this round wide open. It's an easy plant for CPP. Yeah, they... Oh, wow. Beat by the Classic after all that. Unfortunate. Anyways. Pluto, how many more can you get, bud? Burst fire. Been a hot minute since I've seen that. Can I get one more? No shot. CPP cleaned it all up.
And what a great lineup to start that off, right? That same wall goes out again on the A site, the real wall, right? Not the bait one that goes diagonal, the real wall that splits it in 2. But it goes all the way into heaven, right? So that covers for Aloha to go for that teleport commit. Generally, your Omen's not going to commit to that so early in the round because there's such a heavy risk of you getting pushed from defender spawn. You have no intel that deep into the map, right? But the wall covers him beautifully, and then Aloha, I mean, the dude's just been hitting nasty spray transfers today. That's already the second 3K holding the trigger that we've already seen. Oh? Party Kid doesn't have any idea. That's bad.
They should know this by now, though. That's the fake smoke. Immediately pushing the other side of the map. Great information for CU Boulder. Understanding exactly how these plays have been working out. Shut it down right when it starts as well. I mean, CPP, they've had a good plan, but like you pointed out before, that round, the smoke was purely to get the Omen teleport up and in, but there's kind of been a bit of a discrepancy between the smokes when they actually have an intention of pushing the site and when they're pushing on the other side, and I think CU have actually spotted that out.
And you can tell that even if you don't necessarily have the rounds that CU Boulder have, you can sort of tell that it's not really a wall you're going to commit to. What does that wall actually accomplish? It doesn't block off heaven effectively. There's another angle where you could get that if that's what you were going for. It doesn't cut you off from lamps properly. It doesn't get you up short, right? What it does do is leave your Viper toward mid so that they can easily just book it after throwing the wall up and join your team at B. So that is a pretty readable wall, honestly, from CPP. Now 3-6. Certainly better than Colorado Boulder we're doing on Ascent, but they've still got a ways to climb.
And you got a lot of these come down to the early round. Whether or not they can find picks with these little aggressive pushes, which I think have been emblematic of the game that CU Boulder are having. Last time, it was pretty much all CPP taking the aggression, but look at this. I mean, even the showstopper route, yeah, it doesn't find anything, but it very much does show that CU Boulder are willing to take these kind of risks.
Blackman in a very dangerous place. First from reading has to push forward, and Party Kid is just spamming him down. Nothing you can really do there if you're Blackman and Spazzy pushing out, trying to keep Showers control. He's gonna get found. Jazz able, good for 2. Turns out every Omen in this game is able to get those multi-kills, but it's only CPP in the kill feed from there on out.
And we're just continuing this back and forth trend that these teams have. Fortunately, that has meant that CU Boulder's managed to put up at least a decent chunk of weaponry every single round, but at the same time, it's meant that CPP are going back and forth round for round. But look at the pattern. I mean, 2-1, 2-1, 2-1. If the pattern continues, it's bound to be another round up for CPP. Looking at the ultimates, it kind of does spell the same thing. Run it back, though, versus Showstopper will be interesting. I think Spazzy is kind of the player to watch this round to get some big value, provided the play goes A, but right now it looks like it's all B. Hunter's Fury used to try and execute their way through, but not much value found out of it. Double angle, triple angle here on the opening door. How are they going to get past this?
I mean,
Party
with
Kid,
superior
oh my
firepower
God.
and Party Kid, dude.
Oh,
He just blows him away.
on.
Ain't much of a chance. Isolates those 1v1s. I mean, it wasn't necessarily the ideal timing there from Boulder. They had a great crossfire, but I think they got a little bit antsy with it. Now 2v4. I mean, I guess you could go for a showstopper here, and or not a showstopper, run it back rather. And now you've gotten a couple kills. I'm starting to like it a bit better, but now as he left alone and swing from Riyadh. I mean, closer than CPP wanted.
Last round in the
Close ain't it?
Yeah, but no cigar. There's one more round left up on the board for grabs. If history continues, it'll be CU Boulder grabbing it, but for CPP to come out of this half 9-3 would be absolutely crazy. And there's a terrifying prospect on the other side as well in the Viper's Pit. It is just such a round-winning ultimate. If you can get that spike down, get the Viper's Pit down, your odds of winning the round just increase tenfold. I mean, we talk about Lockdown as being a round-winning ultimate, but on the attacking side, once you get the Viper's Pit in play, it can be absolutely devastating. And they're looking for most likely a late-round execute, but no! What a big frag for Spazzy.
Yeah, and he uses the run it back for that too. So that 3 health is going to pop right back up to 100. And he rubber bands to his body. Great position here from Blackman. Can't quite expect that one, buddy. Hunter's Fury will get it, though. Won't stop the spike from getting planted, but that's quite a bit onto CPP. Nice work there, too, from Jazz. And Cal Poly, I mean, without the firepower necessary, hard to make this round happen.
Fire in the hole.
Oh.
Last player standing.
All right. Kicked out of the air and doesn't even get it. Well, I mean, it would have looked nice if he had gotten the kill.
It would look nicer.
Flawless.
We got to give him credit for something. CU Boulder put up one of the most consistent halves I've ever seen. That doesn't necessarily make it a good one. We warned about this, though, Paul. I know you thought that Viper was good on the attacking side, but I mean, it's hard to ignore the defensive lockdown that this team is about to employ between all those smokes, running a backup sentinel as well as opposed to somebody to flash the raise in. Like, this is a team that is not going to let you go anywhere. It's also a team, though, that is going to have a pretty difficult time retaking, right? The Viper is the most useful thing here for that. Like you mentioned on the attacking side, she can bisect those sites, making retakes significantly easier than they would be prior. But outside of that, right, if you get your site taken, that's it. That's the goal for CU Boulder, is to get on, get the spike planted, and at least get into a decent position, because that's something that can really translate into more round wins.
And you got to hold the wall for that too, right? If that's what you want to be doing. And already the Viper wall's actually gone down over toward B. Little does CPP know they're going to be wishing it was over toward A. Already 4 players heavily leaning this direction, up through showers without any sort of difficulty. Couple players coming back towards A, but right now, attacking the defense, just feeling each other out.
And this is kind of the difficulty for the attacking side. It is, yes, there's all that utility on the other side, and yeah, you want to run through it, yeah, you want to go for these executes, but the issue is if you wait for the perfect time, it's never going to happen. There's so much utility that they can just sit behind smokes the entire round. You're going to have to push something eventually here.
CU Boulder on map number 1. Indecision on a lot of their attacking rounds cost them, right? They would look toward both sides of the map, very far away from each other, and not really be able to make much happen. We're down to 40 seconds, and they're ceding what little control they had at A to try and desperately go back to B. Pretty heavy setup in hookah. At least the alarm bot is spotted here. So Spazzy has an idea that Killjoy is hanging around. Doesn't know specifically where Here Comes Disco is. Oh, that's so well done, too. Both gone in an instant. And nobody's coming through hookah for at least a few seconds. Great flank here. Aloha is put down, though. Takes a good bit of that health off of him, and that's the spike. Dropped up in hookah. There ain't time to make it happen, even if Boulder wanted to. Again, indecision, a little bit of waiting. Gonna cost him this last pistol.
Yeah, this looks like a team who it's their first time playing against a Viper Sentinel composition. Right? Because you've got the more aggressive Viper Flash composition, then you can run the Viper Sentinel, which is obviously going to be playing more for defensive sides. And on Bind, it is just beyond deadly. I love the way that CPP played it over on A as well. They were rotating between the Omen dark covers and the Viper popping her orb up and down to really just time everything. Because at first it was dark cover plus snakebite, dark cover plus orb, and then they got, by the time that was all over, they were able to cover the rest of the map using the Killjoy utility. Like, CU Boulder's eventually gonna have to learn here. You've got to find a way through. You've got to utilize those flashes and the Sova to the best of your ability to at least get onto the site.
That's a paint shell there. Already a bunch of damage, and goodbye to Pluto. Ambitious swing here from this catch-up Spicy, but is good for at least one more. Spike's been dropped pretty deep into showers, so good covering that one, Boulder. This is not a fun position to be if you are the attacking team right now. Riyadh's got shock darts too. Ooh, narrowly getting away. But a spam will find Rainbow all the same. Jazz is just 3 HP. Has the better gun in this close quarters and able to find Odd. Pick up that spike and head another direction. Oh no, Spazzy.
Oh no.
He didn't have any idea that Disco pushed him. I mean, there ain't health here for Jazz. I'm not giving them the best of odds right now, Thor.
I mean, I love this from Party Kid as well. They were holding back. It was an advantageous to take on to Jazz, but they were fully willing to just wait there for their Killjoy. You can see he was rotating back around through the back. So as much as CPP are making cocky decisions like pushing smokes with marshals in hand, they are still a team that knows exactly what they're doing. And at 10-4, I think they're pretty confident in at least that much. It's CU Boulder now with control of the weaponry. CPP on a bonus. To lose this for Boulder would be, I mean, just beyond devastating, Paul. So CPP are hoping to have something up their sleeve, and I think that something is going to be this raise. They look like they want to get her up into the forward cubby position. I think she'll get there scot-free as well.
And even if CU Boulder win this round, you got to get out of it cleanly, guys. Don't flash your teammates. The positioning on the wall there, costing them. At least they'll get rid of that nanoswarm, so they can still get up into hookah. And I mean, suddenly this wall is like pretty much useless from the defensive team, right? It doesn't cover here. They've cleared out the left side of hook. Oh, like CU Boulder decide last minute to go back toward A. This Viper wall doesn't get a squat really. Nice pick there too from Blackman hanging around on the lurk. You can actually head back toward A if you want now, especially since you can see Jazz is so into showers, but things going well across the map right now for Boulder. Anyways.
I mean, it's a round we expected them to win. It's a round that they've won historically as well. I don't think they dropped the bonus, dropped the bonus, I suppose, in the previous half. But
this map, but
exactly.
On Ascent they dropped anti-bonus.
Okay, so bit of a different situation. Well, with 10-5, I mean, you get their economy. It's the most you can do after losing pistol, so we can't expect that much more of them. They live with players alive as well, which is kind of the big thing to watch here. They get weapons out of it, and they'll be able to buy up this round. Granted, it's not the greatest. Aloha and Odd are going to be on iffy buys at best, but it gives them a shot, which is more than you can hope for in a lot of rounds versus a team like CPP. Most of us, though, I mean, they've got Hunter's Fury to at least play in the post plant or play in pre. This is a round, though, that it really is decided by first picks. Quick teleports in.
Oh,
what a way to catch him off guard by CPP. Nobody was ready for that. The wall actually shuts it down as well. It was a perfectly timed play by the Viper.
Back to the defensive aggression here for CPP that did so well for them on Ascent. Does leave A rather vulnerable. Odd, not with an actual rifle either, so Blackman's going to be able to find that. 3 versus 4. But I mean, CU Boulder, they're going to have to keep their heads on a swivel here as CPP close in.
At this point, it just feel like vultures. Fully wrapping around, surrounding their prey. That's the lockdown thrown into effect as well. Trying to snipe it out, thinks he knows exactly where it is. Lockdown destroyed,
Awesome.
but still defenders come in, 2-man up. This is bad for the attackers. They're completely separated from one another. Blackman not been dealt with yet. Neither has Rainbow though. Showstopper in, can't stop it in time. Blackman down to low HP. The Nano Swarm's enough to do it. And CPP, despite a barrage of ultimates coming out onto the field, are able to lock it down.
What a great retake there from Cal Poly, too. They wait the time perfectly. The lockdown comes out, yeah, and it's destroyed by the Hunter's Fury. But at the end of the day, it's just a bait. You know that you have this Ketchup, Spicy, and Aloha coming around on that flank. So you just bait the lockdown out. If the Sova's got the Hunter's Fury out, he doesn't have a gun out, which means he's not fighting you, and he's probably retreated down A short anyways. You sacrifice the lockdown to tee up Pluto on a platter. Beautiful work from Cal Poly.
Looking to do it again. In comes Showstopper, and that's going to be cut right short. Wait for it. Nothing to be found. Aloha forward, though. Great position, great angle, catches out Jazz. And now they're back up. Cal Poly Pomona, again, we know they're a smart team. They don't need to do anything more than just hold their positions here. Good double peek. Yep. What a play by the two players out of Hookah.
And I mean, you're on the site now for CU Boulder, but it is 2 versus 5, right? The run it back means that Spazzy is rebounding all the way into long. Pluto can't really get the spike down right there. Gonna try and TP. Pluto's on his way out. Has to be able to contend here. That's so many players on just one angle, though. And they won't even make it to the teleporter. Now map and match point for Cal Poly Pomona.
I think I can hear the fat lady from a couple miles away right now. This is not good. And look at the scoreboard. Oh my god, it's beautiful, Paul. Oh my, it is. Look at the rounds. 2-1, 2-1, 2-1, 2-1, 2-1.
Boulder, you gotta win one more.
Boulder,
Okay?
you just put one up so we get the pretty game. Like, that's all I need. Just for me, if nothing else. For me and Paul.
You got guns. You got guns. You got oral theft, I guess. Get a pick. Win the round. I believe Boulder.
Oh, a little end of April gift. Just leave us with something here. All right. Pressure for CU Boulder. They're looking at B pretty seriously, but playing into Killjoy and Viper is so hard. This is a stack site that is very rarely broken. They've pushed out of A as well. Look at the Omen, look at the Raze. They backed up, they know the rotate safe. Sova's here as well. CU Boulder have got to catch a hit and back out, but I don't think they've got an idea what's going on.
Look at Party Kid. Look at Party Kid right now. Nobody expects the Viper to be up there in the smoke. It wasn't a one-way. It was obfuscating the lady that would be their demise. Jazz. That again. Aloha? No. No. You don't get another knife kill, Aloha. No. Back. No. Okay. No. Disco gets it. Oh, my word. Cal Poly. Relentless and amazing. That is a fantastic way to end a very dominant series from them. Congratulations, Cal Poly.
I mean, what do you want, man? A game that has 3 knives in it to start and end rounds. It was perfect. Let's take a look, though. Oh, Disco beats Jazz this time. 70 strike back. We're good for at least one more. But, I mean, it was at least an entertaining match. We didn't get the perfect game we were expecting out of the second one. I would have killed for one more to be up on the board. But I don't think you can really take away from kind of the story that this shows that, you know, Cal Poly Pomona, yes, they're a bit coin flippy. At times, they can beat those upper teams, but I want to see from them beating the lower teams more consistently before I see them really taking shots at the upper teams as often as they are. It shows, you know, you build a foundation before you start building the actual building for all intents and purposes. And this shows, hey, they're not dropping rounds, they're not dropping games to teams that are below them in the standings.
Yeah, they get out clean, right? I mean, this isn't the 2-1 they had against WGA or the 1-2 they had against Cal Poly. This is just solid play across the board. I really liked that Viper play too. Party Kid, you can bring that one back. Viper on bind has given me some feelings this week after T1 pulled it out. But you know what? I'm vibing with that. So I like it. Paul approved. That's how we're going to go with that one. We're not quite done yet, just yet, folks. We're going to have an interview with one of the Cal Poly players when we come back from a quick break. So stick around to hear what they have to say.
looking down from the heights that we have built all by ourselves. And there is fear of the unknown, but we cannot lose control when we feel like the world is against us. We're trying to find ourselves without the defining words. We can no longer hold on to what only makes us hurt. We cannot sink into the dark. The vertigo is getting sharp. There's something greater than ourselves that we must reach for. Into the infinite that we must reach. 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 Now which way do we go is the question to ask. There are so many choices that it's hard not to look past. What is real and what is fake, and the risk we have to take. Will we know what is throwing off our balance? We're trying to find ourselves without the defining words.
Welcome back, everybody. It has been a pretty solid stomping. Cal Poly Pomona doing a pretty good job taking down Colorado Boulder, and we are here with one of the victors. Aloha, how are you feeling, man?
Pretty good. Pretty fun games. Our team did really well, and we were having a great time.
Yeah, I mean, you guys started the game just how you ended it with a bunch of knives, so I'll start off our interview asking just about those. It was namely you in game one who came out and both started the game and the game with it round one and on the final round. Look, I know you guys are having a bit of fun. You're pushing smokes with marshals and whatnot. What's the energy inside the call like? Is it everybody on the same page? Is it you mostly leading the shenanigans? What's going on there?
Well, it kind of just, we're always very focused, actually. We're actually very, we're clear with comms, you know. We chit-chat here and there in between rounds, but typically when the walls go down and we're in game, we're all pretty serious, and we're all pretty, focused on, our strats, our calls, and we clear comms pretty well, but, yeah, sometimes you just see those opportunities, and it's like, I'm gonna take it. Also, it adds
We caught that. We caught that in 4K. You being on B long, ready to knife out, ready to hop down and try and take him out. Speaking of bind, though, I want to talk a little bit about the Viper that you guys brought out there. Now, without revealing too much into your guys' strategies, we still got a couple weeks to play. I don't want you to give anything away, but is that something that was like more of a on the fly, hey, we're doing really well, let's try something new kind of pick? Or you guys been working Viper into your new lineups? What's the con with Viper for you guys?
Yeah, so Party Kid, one of our star players, he's been picking up Viper, and we've been trying out on different maps, and it's sort of meta, and against some teams, we lose against Util, we lose against Viper Wall, and sometimes you just have to play around the meta. And it's been working out pretty good. He's a really good Viper player. He's putting in a lot of time on it. And we decided to play it on Bind, though, because we actually don't get a lot of time to practice. And sometimes tournaments are where we do try first things. And I think it's a pretty good way to get the ball rolling, with new strats and stuff. Because a lot of our stuff, other than that, is on the spot. We kind of figure out things as we go. Some things work, some things don't, and then we carry it on to our next games.
Well, I'll give you this. It didn't look like it was your first time playing the Viper. You guys looked pretty solid on it, all things to be said. And you were shutting down the utility excellently. And you mentioned a little bit about having to play meta because you're getting tired of getting beat by if you can't beat them. join it, might as well go for it yourself. But
Yeah.
now that you're on meta, you look pretty solid against it. And in the collegiate space, it is a bit contentious because, you know, some teams have fully adapted to it. Some of the teams are being a little bit slower to the Astra Viper train. Now that you're here, now that you've kind of got that tool under your belt, do you think that's enough to help you start beating some of those upper echelon West teams? Because you're one of the teams that really does have the potential to upset a lot of the SJSUs, you know, the teams at the top, the UC Irvines of the division.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a step in the right direction. We're definitely improving a lot as a team. We've made a lot of progress like over the past few weeks and months. Definitely, I think we could stand a chance as long as we, you know, keep practicing, keep getting these games in, and keep trying our best. And I think we could do pretty well.
For sure, for sure. And, you know, Dora already name dropped them, so I'll bring them back out and ask you, you know, we're halfway through the second split. Keep in mind for all our folks at home, if I'm not mistaken, the top 4 teams from each region get to go on to playoffs in this second split. That might work weird, slightly differently for the West Division because there's only one West Division, so pay attention when people who are smarter than me talk about it. But, you know, you've still got quite a road ahead of you, right, Aloha? You've got to play SJSU next week, and then you finish off Split 2 with UC Irvine. What are your guys' feelings going into 2 undoubtedly difficult matches?
I think these are going to be some pretty good games. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be, you know, I think it's going to be a pretty heated game where we just faced SJSU, I think, a couple weeks ago, and we faced UC Irvine, I think, sometime last week. And we also faced them like months ago, and we didn't do so well. And now this time we faced them again, we did a lot better, and like we felt like we could actually like really win if we keep working hard. So I think this next game will be a pretty big one.
Hey, we'll keep that improvement up. You're looking really, really good. I appreciate you coming by as well. It's great to get a look, especially into the mind of a team that is looking to beat them out. You guys have improved a ton. You've got the Viper under your belt now. It's nice seeing Party Kid really flexing that capability. A lot of times we're used to seeing them on the Rays, and now flexing over to another role entirely. It's really a refreshing look from you guys, and I want to wish you guys the best going into the future. So before we let you go, we'll give you your soapbox, stand on it, shout out whoever, mom, dad, parents, teachers, principal, whoever it might be, your dog even. Go ahead and let it rip.
Okay, sure. I guess I'll just like to shout out my teammates. Kevin, aka This Ketchup Spicy. Tony, of course, Party Kid. We have Bill, Here Comes Disco, and of course Riyadh. And his name's Riyadh in game. So I'd just like to shout out them. They're a really good team, really awesome guys, and every time we play, it's always like a learning experience on top of us, like having a good time. So that's all I have to say. Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you for joining us, man, and talking about this great win you had over Colorado. Now, we're going to be seeing more of you later. For now, we'll let you go, though. And, I mean, Thor, that's more or less it. We're pretty much done with this week. Yeah, we're going to let everybody go. This is going to be the closeout. Make sure you folks tune in Monday. There's more CF1, always more good collegiate Valorant action. But Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time is when we're picking this back up. But for now, have a good weekend, you folks. Make sure you stay safe, and we'll see you Monday for more collegiate Valorant action.
I'm the only one alive who get me to the other side. The other side. I'm the only one alive who get me to the other side. The other side. Now which way do we go is the question to ask. There are so many choices that it's hard not to look past. What is real and what is fake, and the risk we have to take. Will we know what is throwing off our balance? We're trying to find ourselves without the defining words. We can no longer hold on to what only makes us hurt. We cannot sink into the dark. The vertigo is getting sharp. There's something greater than ourselves that we must reach for. Into the infinite that we must reach. Into the infinite that we must reach. Into the infinite that we must reach. Into the infinite that we must reach.